My parents handed me a $500 check after my grandfather passed and said, "This is your share from Grandpa's estate. Take it or leave it." Meanwhile, they split the $50 million inheritance between themselves and my sister. I looked at the check, handed it back, and said, "See you in court." 6 months later, the judge ruled Grandpa's will was clear. Everything was supposed to go to me. They lost every penny and still won't speak to me. My father didn't even look me in the eye when he slid the envelope across the mahogany dining table. I remember the sound of it. A dry paper scratch that felt like a slap. "Take it or leave it, Elias," he said. His voice was cold, like he was settling a tab with a stranger. I opened the envelope. A check for $500. $500. My grandfather, Arthur Vance, had just been buried. He was a man who owned 3 logistics companies, a sprawling estate in Vermont, and a portfolio that made the local news. I was his only grandson. I was the one who moved into his guest house to care for him during his final 3 years. I was the one who changed his linens and listened to his stories, while my parents were busy managing their social calendars in Dubai. "What is this?" I asked, my voice dangerously quiet. My mother sipped her wine, her eyes fixed on the garden. "It's your share, honey. Grandpa wanted you to have a little something to help with your creative pursuits." "A little something?" I looked at my sister Claire. She was scrolling on her phone, a brand new Hermes bag draped over the chair next to her. She hadn't visited Grandpa once in 3 years, not once. "Mom and Dad are being generous," Claire muttered without looking up. "The rest is tied up in the family trust. It's for the adults to handle." "The rest being $50 million, I asked. The room went silent. My father leaned forward, his face hardening into the mask he used for firing employees. "Listen to me carefully. That money is the lifeblood of this family. You've always been soft. You don't have the head for the business. We've decided how the estate will be split. You get the $500. It's more than you earned." I looked at the check. Then I looked at the 3 people I used to call my family. They weren't mourning a grandfather. They were celebrating a heist. I stood up, picked up the check, and held it out. "Keep it," I said. My mother scoffed. "Don't be dramatic, Elias. It's $500. I leaned over the table, locking eyes with my father. "You're right. It's just paper. But you made a mistake. You forgot that Grandpa didn't trust people who lied for a living." I dropped the check into his wine glass. It bobbed in the red liquid like a sinking ship. "I'll see you in court," I said. My father laughed. A genuine condescending bark. "With what lawyer, son? You're broke." I didn't answer. I just walked out. The next 6 months were a blur of cheap coffee and fluorescent lights. What my parents didn't know was that Grandpa Arthur wasn't just old. He was sharp. He knew exactly who was waiting for him to die. 3 months before he passed, we sat in his library. He had a legal pad and a glass of scotch. "Elias," he told me, "they're going to try to erase you. They think I'm senile. They think I signed the 2018 codicil." I didn't. He had me record a video. He had a secret second will drafted by a firm 3 towns over, witnessed by his longtime gardener and his doctor. The day of the hearing, my parents walked into the courtroom looking like royalty. They had a team of 4 lawyers. I had 1 woman in a sensible suit and a mountain of evidence. My mother actually tried to hug me in the hallway. "It's not too late to drop this, Elias. Don't ruin your reputation." "I'm not the one who's ruined," I told her. Inside, the judge didn't waste time. My parents' legal team tried to argue that the 2018 will, the one leaving everything to the family trust, controlled by my father, was the final word. Then my lawyer stood up. She played the video. There was Grandpa Arthur, clear-eyed and steady. "I am leaving my entire estate, including all business interests, properties, and liquid assets, solely to my grandson Elias Vance. My son and daughter-in-law have already taken enough through management fees over the years. This is my final wish. If they contest this, they are to be disinherited entirely." The silence in that courtroom was deafening. I watched the blood drain from my mother's face. My father's hands began to shake. The judge looked over his spectacles. "The forensic audit of the 2018 document shows a forged signature. This isn't just a probate matter anymore. This is a criminal one. The ruling was a total slaughter. Grandpa's clear intention clause was ironclad because they had contested the second will and attempted to use a forged document. The no contest penalty kicked in. They lost everything. The house, the cars, the shares in the company. Even the money they had already started spending. As we walked out of the courtroom, my father lunged at me. Not to hit me, but to plead. "Elias, you can't do this. We're your parents. We'll be on the street." I stopped and looked at him. I felt nothing. No anger, no heat, just a cold, hard clarity. "You told me to take it or leave it," I said. "I chose to leave it." "You're a monster," my sister hissed, tears ruining her expensive makeup. "No," I said, checking my watch. "I'm the owner of the house you're currently living in. You have 48 hours to vacate. I'd save that Hermes bag if I were you. You're going to need to hock it for rent." It's been 6 months since then. They haven't spoken to me. Not that I've given them the chance. I blocked their numbers and changed the locks on every property Arthur owned. I sold the big estate. I didn't need 50 rooms. I kept a logistics company and promoted the people who actually did the work. Sometimes I sit in Grandpa's library and have a scotch. I keep that $500 check, the one soaked in wine, framed on my desk. It reminds me that some people know the price of everything, but the value of nothing. They wanted to play for keeps. Now they're keeping the silence.